All right, the real estate market's seen some ups and downs over the last year, and joining us now to talk more about the current market is the founder of the Jim Buttrell Real Estate Team, Jim Buttrell. Jim, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
All right, so we got a situation. I was talking with a buddy of mine who rents this past week, and he could buy a home, but he's holding off buying a home because of the high interest rates. What would you say to him?
Well, I would say prospective buyer out there is probably finding himself in a very tough spot. People tend to want to wait until the interest rates go down, but what I'm going to say right now is going to shock you a little bit. If you're a buyer out there right now, these high interest rates, they're your friend.
And why? How is that, my friend, if I'm a buyer?
Yeah. All right. So as we see interest rates that are probably in the high sixes, low sevens, that's probably keeping 2/3 of all of the prospective buyers, like your friend, on the sidelines right now. However, that remaining 1/3 of buyers, they are already overwhelming the extremely limited number of houses we have for sale, which is why we've seen housing prices go up since roughly January 15th. There are more buyers out there right now than there are sellers, and that's driving prices up. Now imagine the flood of buyers are going to hit the market if interest rates drop into the mid fives, which we're expecting sometime around 2024. That 2/3 of buyers that's currently on the sidelines, they will flood the market and absolutely overwhelm, even worse, the limited number of houses we have for sale. So if you think that competition for homes is high right now, if you think that housing prices are high right now, wait until you see what happens when interest rates drop into those mid fives. We're going to see those crazy bidding wars again. We're going to see housing prices skyrocket. And that's because this lack of inventory problem, this is not going to sort itself out, not for probably years.
So you think that even though we have a lack of inventory now, there's going to be even fewer homes on the market within the next few years. Is that right?
No, there won't be fewer homes on the market, but there's going to be 3 times as many buyers.
I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
We're talking about bidding wars then.
Absolutely. We're going to see bidding wars. We're going to see housing prices skyrocket.
Wow. So that's funny because you say, okay, we've got, what are the prices of homes right now compared to a year ago? What are we looking at?
Well, remember, 1 year ago, on June 30th of last year is when we hit the peak of the market. July 1 is when we started going down, and we bottom out around January 15th. So what we have seen since January 15th of this year is we've seen housing prices creep back up about 7%. So housing prices are already going up. And again, that's being driven by the lack of inventory. The houses, there's just not many houses for sale. And I'll go into why we have such a shortage of houses for sale. I call it the 6 Ds, all right? And yes, I did make that up. These are the 6 reasons people sell houses, which is death, divorce, displacement, meaning you got a job transfer, destitute, all right? That means you lost your job, can't afford the payments. Now, these people are going to bring their houses to market no matter what. They don't get a choice of when they bring it to market. And those are houses we've been seeing hitting the market. However, the last 2 Ds, the diamonds, meaning you got married, and dependents, meaning you had kids. This is normally the majority of all the houses that come to the market. A normal family will probably upsize 4 times and downsize twice throughout a lifetime. And every time they do that, they bring a house to market. There's a house for sale. However, these people are not selling. They're not bringing their houses to market. That's because they're probably sitting on an interest rate that starts with a 2 or a 3, and they're not going to upsize or downsize into an interest rate that's 2 or 3 times as much as what they're paying now. They're not going to do that at least until their situation becomes unbearable. And that means unbearably too many kids in one bedroom, or maybe an unbearably empty house after all the kids have moved out. But in order for somebody to make that jump from that 2 or 3% interest rate into something that's substantially higher, that level of unbearable is going to have to hit a peak. And in my guess, my belief is it's probably going to take years before we get there. So long story short, this housing shortage, this is here to stay. And that's why housing prices have been going up, will go up, probably quite a bit.
Okay, so in summary, you're saying to the person who's considering buying a home, maybe for the first time, don't worry about the high interest rates, just get in the game.
Right. As I've been jokingly saying, you are absolutely, if you're a buyer, you are absolutely welcome to wait to buy if you don't mind paying a lot more for the house later on. If you're a buyer, I would say that you just got to buy the house right now. As weird as it sounds, again, that higher interest rate today, that is your friend. That's keeping 2/3 of your competition out of the market. So my advice is buy the house today at what's, going to be the cheaper price. buy the house today at that price. Then when interest rates probably next year come down to mid fives, then refi into that lower rate. So really what you're doing is you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the lower price today, and you're going to get that lower payment tomorrow.
Very good advice. All right, Jim Buttrell. Great talk, Jim. Thanks for the advice.
Thanks for having me.